will be the question moderator for tonight's forum. The 29th House District includes portion of Taylor, Romulus, Frenchtown Township, Monroe City, and all of Huron Township, Ash Township, and Carrollton. Since Representative Garza is the only candidate joining us tonight, he will be the only candidate that we will pose questions to. We will start off with questions submitted prior to tonight's event. Then we will open it up to questions from the audience that have joined us tonight. We will start off by allowing Representative Garza to introduce himself for 3 minutes, and then we will get into questions. Representative Garza.
Thank you, Hussein. I appreciate it. And I just want to thank everyone for being out tonight for this forum. I think it's very important that we're holding a forum in order to see exactly where candidates in the 29th House District are on important issues that are affecting our state. So I just want to thank everyone for being here today. I know some of you here in the crowd tonight, but I'm State Representative Alex Garza. I have been the state representative for Michigan's 12th House District since 2019. Prior to my service in the State House, I served 5 years on Taylor City Council, and one of those years as the City Council Chairman prior to my service in the State House. One of the things I always tell folks is when I got involved in politics and got involved in service, it all started from me growing up right here in the city of Taylor. I started off by going to city council meetings, letting the city council and the local government members know how I felt about things that were happening and things that weren't happening in our community. And from there, my service has skyrocketed to going to the State House and fighting for our values, Taylor values, in the State House. And I've been proud of the successes that we've had over the years in the State House with what we've been able to accomplish in a Republican majority legislature. We've had some of the most success as the minority party. I've passed over 6 bills in the State House, which is something that's unheard of when you have a Republican majority in the House. So I'm very proud of the work we've been able to do over the last 4 years, and I'm looking forward to talking about some of these issues that are here for the community and what we plan to do to address them as we look for another term in the State House. So thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Representative Garza. We'll start with the first question. Why are you running for re-election?
Thank you. That's a great question. I think one of the biggest things that I always tell folks is why I'm running for re-election is because we started off in 2018 running for office for a few different reasons. First of all, we ran for office, and I ran for office in 2018 to make sure we were putting money back into education in the state of Michigan. We know that education has been cut severely in the state over the years, over the last few decades, and we had to really look deep into making sure we were putting money to our state's future, which is our kids. And that was one of the main reasons why I ran for state representative in 2018, along with right to work. We know that right to work, which was passed in 2000, well actually in the earlier 2000s under Governor Snyder at the time, which crippled many of our our labor unions and their right in order to organize and to pay union dues in this state. So coming from a labor family, I always tell folks, you know, my dad was a Teamster, my grandfather was a UAW member for almost 50 years. Labor is in my blood, and making sure that we're doing our best to put working class folks first has always been a priority for me as a candidate and for someone who served Taylor and Romulus in the State House for the last 4 years. So I'm running for re-election to make sure we're putting our Taylor values, our working class values first in the State House, and that we're actually responding to the needs of our district head on. And it's very important that we're doing that, and I look forward to the opportunity to continue doing that for the next 2 years.
Thank you. The second question is, what is the most urgent issue that the 29th District is facing, and what will you do about it?
Thank you for the question. One of the things I'll say, first of all, there's no one issue that this district has. I think one of the things that comes to mind, though, when we talk about specific issues to our district, and this is not just a Taylor issue, a Romulus issue, this is an Ash Township issue, this is a Carrollton issue, Frenchtown Township issue, Monroe City issue, and that's the flooding that we're having problems with in this district. I think as we continue to see climate change and we continue to see more record rain events in our state and across the country, we're having issues with basement flooding, with road flooding, and that continues to deteriorate our infrastructure over time. So this is something that's going to be on top of a lot of legislators' minds as we go into this next session, because we're having a lot of issues with flooding and infrastructure disrepair. So this needs to happen on in a statewide level in order to see where we're having record rainfall events. Monroe County, for instance, is one of the record counties in our state that received the most increase in record rainfall across the whole state. Right down south in Monroe County, and even Wayne County, very high on that list. So I think that's going to be a big issue going into this next session of the legislature, and how we're working with our localities and our city councils, our mayors across the state, in order to make sure that our cities and communities are getting the money they need for infrastructure repair due to road flooding.
Thank you. Next question. What have you accomplished for your community while in office?
Thank you. I appreciate the question, and I actually want to just recognize some of my staff from my legislative office who are here today. Chris Wardell, he's in the back there, and also Angela Osborne, who's right there at the table. And I always told folks when I ran for office, and you know, Angela's been with me for 4 years, Chris has been with me a little bit less than a year now, and I just wanted to say thank you to both of them for all the work they've done for the residents of the 12th district. And I'd like to give them a round of applause, because they are great, phenomenal people. And that goes very well into the accomplishments piece of this. So over the 4 years, we've done a lot. And I mentioned earlier in my opening remarks that we've been one of the most successful offices in the legislature. And that's not by accident. One of the things that I've always done as a legislator, and has been on top of my mind ever since joining the legislature, has been to work with anyone who's willing to work for the constituents I represent. If you're willing to work with me to get things done for the people I work for, which are the people of Taylor, people of Romulus, people of Van Buren Township, I'm there. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, it doesn't matter to me. It's always been about putting the people of my district first. It's never been about partisan politics. And that's why we've been able to pass 6 bills over our time in office, and that's unheard of. The Republicans control the legislature. I'm a Democrat, and a lot of times Democrats don't get bills passed because of that. But that just goes to show you that we put this district first. The 4 years that I've been in office, we put people first. We put people before politics. We've been able to get a lot done. We've gotten a lot done for our veterans. We've gotten a lot done for our seniors. We've gotten a lot done for our communities, and also for our educational system. We've had record increases in educational funding for our state, which is one of my main goals when I went to Lansing, was to accomplish, and we've been able to do that. Again, there's a lot to look at of what we've done over the last 4 years, but I also, I want to make sure that we give recognition to my staff, because this doesn't all happen in a vacuum with just me. It happens because we all collectively have a goal of representing the people of the city of Taylor, the city of Romulus, and also a goal of making sure we're representing the new 29th district. So I'm appreciative of the question, and I really appreciate my staff for being by my side in order to deliver results for the people of the 12th district.
Thank you. Our next question. What should be done to ensure that our elections are free, fair, and secure?
Thank you. That's a great question. We've seen a lot of talk about our elections, and this is not just in Michigan, but across the country. Folks have had concerns about whether or not they're secure, whether or not their votes count, whether or not what's happening with absentee voting. But I want to be very clear about my stance on this. We have to make sure that we're talking about facts when we're talking about secure elections. Our city clerks, our township clerks, our village clerks in the state of Michigan and across the country put their heart and soul into their jobs. We've seen that. We have a great city clerk here in the city of Taylor, Cindy Bauer, and we have a great city clerk in the city of Romulus, Alex Bragg, and also in Van Buren Township, which is Leon Wright. And I trust that the election system is secure, free, and fair, because we've seen that happen, and we know who runs our elections. Our city clerks do a phenomenal job at running our elections every single year that they occur. So I think it's important that we're always doing our best to make sure that we keep our elections free, fair, and secure. But also at the same time, we should be embracing those who have continued to work to make sure that our elections are free, fair, and secure. So I appreciate that question, and if there's any legislation or folks who want to continue to make that a priority, I'm happy to work with them on that.
Thank you.